All right, guys. So squad member Miss Rashida Tlaib, who we've talked about quite a bit on this channel lately in regards to her proposal to basically abolish prisons, and the squad basically wanting to let everybody out of jail, right? Let the criminals run in the streets. She was on the congressional floor talking about another so-called progressive proposal, right? And this one's a pretty popular one, which is forgiving student loan debt. And the irony of her proposal and what she was talking about in her personal story with her student loan debt is that it is literally the exact reason why we should not forgive student loan debt. Take a look.
I worked full time Monday through Friday and took weekend classes to get my law degree, and still close to $200,000 in debt. And I still owe about $70,000. And most of it was interest. Most of it was our own government making money and profit off of me. And guess what? I didn't go to the for-profit entities. I went to legal aid. I worked at the nonprofit organization fighting for, the right to breathe clean air, to fight for the worker that was getting their wage, taken and stolen from their employer. I went and worked on immigrant rights and so much more. And all of that to say, we have to stop treating as if folks that are paying for education as if they bought some bougie car or some big, something beyond there. No, they were seeking an education.
All right, guys. So I want you to understand what she's actually saying here, right? Because her story is so common among the people who really want their student loan debt forgiven. And basically their argument is that, well, I made bad decisions in regards to my education, where to go to school, what job to get after I leave school. So therefore, you taxpayers, right, that did not take out student loan debt, that did not make those bad decisions, that paid back your student loan debt, that fulfill your responsibilities, you guys should pay for it, right? You guys should be on the hook for my bad decisions. That's what she's saying. Let's break it down. She says she was $200K in debt for a law degree, okay? And she's still $70K in debt right now. Now, keep in mind, she's already paid $130,000 of that according to her, okay? And she's also a representative in Congress, which means she makes about $170,000 a year. So you mean to tell me that you can't put aside $10K a year over the next 7 years to finish paying that off, right? You're making $170,000 a year. You should be able to pay that off, right? But yet she's sitting up here in Congress clamoring, right, begging for the government to forgive her student loan debt, right? Debt that she obviously has shown that she can pay off. But let's go a little bit deeper here, right? She went to Western Michigan University, Cooley Law School, which is a private law school that costs about $50,000 a year in tuition, okay? About $50,000 a year in tuition. Okay, so she probably went there for 3 or 4 years, which, makes sense considering how she said she was $200K in student loan debt. And then after that, going to that expensive school, she decided to not go get a high-paying job with her law degree, right? Like a corporate law or something like that. She decided to go work for some nonprofit where she probably wasn't getting paid that much, right? So yeah, we're talking about bad decisions. Why would you go to school, a private law school, paying $50,000 a year in tuition to then leave that school and go get a job working at a nonprofit when you're not going to get paid that much? Again, this is a common story, guys, right? This is the problem with the whole student loan debt forgiveness thing. A lot of these students, guys, the reason why they've accumulated so much debt is because they're going and getting these advanced degrees. For example, like master's degrees, which make up most of the student loan debt, right? In fact, data shows that 56% of student loan debt comes from graduate school. 36% of student loan debt comes from master's degrees, right? So it's these people that go out here and get these advanced degrees, these master's degrees, that are the ones that owe the most debt, right? People like her. And what they do is they go to these schools, right? These expensive private schools. And then after they leave, they go and get jobs in fields where they're not getting paid enough to have a positive return on investment for their degree. Again, basically a bad financial decision. Now, if you listen to the so-called progressives talk, they'll try to frame student loan debt forgiveness as a progressive issue, right? This is going to help the common person, right? The people that earn lower incomes. It's going to really help them out the most. When the reality is that the highest income households owe 60% of outstanding student loan debt and make up about 75% of all student loan payments, right? Now, we're talking about lawyers, doctors, MBAs. We're talking about people who have high incomes, right? Those are the majority of the student loan debt holders, right? So Rashida Tlaib and the squad, the so-called progressives, want us taxpayers, right, to go out here and to forgive the student loan debt of doctors and lawyers and people that have advanced degrees. That's what they want us to do. And they try to frame that as a so-called progressive solution. So again, the people that are going to get the benefits of this are those that are making the highest incomes, right? Rich people, right? This is welfare for the rich. Student loan debt forgiveness, okay? And then she tries to frame this as if, well, the government's making money off of me. And it's like, bro, the government ain't even making money off this anymore, because that's how bad this problem has gotten, in the fact that we're sending people to go to school to get these useless degrees. I mean, forecasters thought that the government will earn a profit off of student loans, but the latest estimates from the Congressional Budget Office expects the program to actually cost taxpayers $31 billion in new loans over the next few decades. That's if you use a favorable accounting method, right? If you use a more realistic one, it can get up to hundreds of billions of dollars in costs for taxpayers, right? So again, the problem is so bad that the government's not even really making money off of it anymore. But yet these people want taxpayers to continue to foot the bill for an obviously inefficient system. The problem with this system is that, one, you need to pay your debts back first and foremost, right? You took out a student loan, pay it back, right? The second issue is that we're sending too many kids to go to college. The government should stop encouraging and subsidizing students to go to these four-year universities, especially the ones where you're not going to get a positive return on investment. A lot of these colleges out here, guys, shouldn't exist, right? A lot of these private institutions that cost $50,000, $60,000 a year to go to, they just should not exist, because the return on investment is just not there. People go to those schools and they get degrees in sociology, and it costs them, again, $200,000, and they come out of these schools making $30,000 a year, right? It doesn't make sense. And the government's paying for that, right? And in my opinion, again, if these schools can't produce students that are going and getting high paying jobs, right? If their degrees can't get a positive return on investment, it shouldn't exist, right? Or put it this way, if it does exist, it shouldn't be funded by the taxpayer. It should be funded by endowments, right? People that give back to the school, let them subsidize it. But the taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for this. What really needs to happen is that we need to stop pushing kids, telling them that in order to achieve the American dream, you got to go to college. It makes no sense that we live in a society where a 18-year-old can get a $100,000 student loan, but can't get a $10,000 business loan. It makes no sense that we live in a society where a student can be in school for 15 plus years and come out and not have any skills whatsoever to get a job, right? They don't know basic financial literacy, right? They don't have any hard skills or anything like that where they can go and get a decent paying job right out of high school. I mean, heck, a lot of these kids, they don't even know how to read and write and do math, right? They don't even know how to do the things that they went to school to learn. They don't even know. But yet you're sitting here trying to tell me that these kids, right, we should put them in school for 4 more years, right, to basically go and do the same thing again. Take all these general education courses that's supposed to make you more well-rounded, aka make you more woke. Well, at least it makes them more well-rounded. Well, is being more well-rounded worth $1.7 trillion in student loan debt? You mean to tell me that's worth it? No. The system is simply inefficient, right? And don't get me wrong, there are some student loan companies, right? Companies that give out these loans that have taken advantage of students, right? There are some of these for-profit colleges that have taken advantage of students as well, okay? And I think that issue should be addressed. However, that's not really the big problem here. That's not what we're really talking about. What we're talking about is a system that needs to be fixed, right? A society and a culture that needs to be changed, where we need to, again, stop pushing people to go to college as if that's the only way, when it's not, right? It's not. And again, I'm not necessarily against the four-year university system. I just think that the biggest problem with that is that, again, we shouldn't be pushing people into it as a default. And if you do decide to go, then you need to make sure you're going and you're getting a degree and you're studying things that are actually going to help you get a positive return on investment. They're going to help you make money, right? So that you can pay back those student loans. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to work. So again, in my opinion, again, if these progressives really wanted to fix this problem, they would basically tell students, stop going to four-year university, especially these for-profit private institutions, and look into going to trade schools, look into learning very specific skills like how to code, things like that, learn financial literacy. They will be pushing that in high school. Those are the things that actually need to be pushed and we need to embrace. And also community college as well. I'll throw that in there. Because in community college, you can learn a whole lot of technical skills, right, that you simply, don't learn at four-year universities, right? And you can do it basically for no debt because the government is already subsidizing that. The only difference is, at least in the short term, the government gets a positive return on investment from community college, more so than they do four-year universities. So yeah, if you really want to fix the problem, you need to be pushing those things. Community college, trade schools, financial literacy, learning specific skills, starting businesses. That's what you need to be pushing. Stop pushing people to go to these inefficient, useless schools to get these useless, worthless degrees. That way, a lot of these colleges will probably disappear, right? Because they shouldn't exist. And you'll probably see the cost of school go down because you don't have as much demand for people to actually go. So again, no, we should not forgive your student loan debt, Rashida. You made a bad decision, and then you have to stick with it. And look, you're in Congress. You have more than enough money to pay for it. And if you don't, then again, you're making some bad financial decisions. And I doubt that's it because you own rental property. So you're actually somewhat smart, right? So don't sit and try to act like, oh, boo-hoo, I got student loan debt, you should forgive it. No. Be a grown-up and pay back your debts. It's really that simple. Let me know what you guys think. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.